Hello everybody, shout out to my subscribers. Hope everybody's having a good day. Call this part 2 of the realistic DX-300 pre-selector repair. As you saw in the last video, I was preparing to take the pre-selector out and attempt to free up the mechanism, and I've accomplished that. So here's the tore down mechanism. This double gear assembly drop in there. This trunnion, you can see the threaded hole here, screwed hard to the case, and this remains stationary. And that gear slid over the top of it. It's held in with that tiny E-clip, circlip, whatever you want to call it. Circlip, I guess, is the right name. To get at all of this, there's the tiny screw that held the post to the side of the chassis. I should say that. In order to get at all that, to take out 4 screws, 2 on each side, and this retaining nut off of the shaft to remove this plate. Of course, once I got the plate out, I took the tiny screw out and took this gear assembly out. And what I found was the problem was the brass shaft that these 2 gears are fixed to has to rotate freely around this trunnion. And what I found is it was covered in green corrosion and old dried up grease, and I actually had to spray some oil in it, put my tiny pair of channel locks on it while holding the gear with a rag, and very carefully move it the light little bit that it would move, and slowly work some oil in there until it would break and spin all the way around. Then I spun it, spun it, spun it, spun it, with slowly putting upward pressure with the channel locks until I finally got that center trunnion out. Post, trunnion, shaft, trunnion. These things are incredibly handy to have around when working on small things like this. Used them to free that up, used them to get the nut off that shaft. They're just absolutely indispensable. If you ever run across a very tiny pair of channel locks like that, don't just think they're for a joke. They come in extremely handy. If you're going to do this type of electronics repair, I strongly advise you have one. You will value them as most as your best pieces of test equipment. I know I do. They come in extremely handy. I think while I've already cleaned this pre-selector up pretty good, I think while I have this radio apart, I'll go ahead and either hit it with a little compressed air, or I may run over everything with a soft bristle brush. Well, I don't know. It seems to be a fairly fragile built radio. It doesn't strike me as a very substantially built radio. I mean, I'm not saying anything's terrible in it, but I don't know if you can see it. This transistor down here, it's just loose, just flying around, hanging in the breeze. You know, for a portable receiver, that has a handle built into the side of its case, you'd think they'd be a little bit more concerned with vibration breaking components loose. Not to mention all the stuff that's mounted on old point-to-point wiring type little tag boards. I think I found 3 of them so far. One's got a transistor, 2 resistors, a capacitor, and maybe a diode. I think it's just the 2 resistors and a capacitor. And the transistor. The other ones seem to just be wiring points that have just like maybe a capacitor or a resistor or something on them. Seems very bodged together. Very hastily constructed. Although I do like the way it functions. It looks good. I mean, all of the dial lights are burned out in it currently. I'm going to have to probably just going to go ahead and replace them with an LED. If I can find the small incandescent lamps, I prefer the look of them, and they tend to distribute the light better without the harsh angles of an LED. But of course it's easier just to go and run out and grab some random LEDs and toss them in circuit with the appropriate dropping resistor. I mean, it's not that big of a deal. In fact, I think I may have some LEDs lying around, but I think they're all weird colors. Red and orange and yellow and blue and green. So we'll call this part 2. I've seemed to have found and resolved the problem. Like I said, this is all green and black and terrible. I polished it up with a simple nylon bristle brush. Be amazed at how many things a simple nylon bristle brush will clean. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed part 2 of this repair. If I can find a manual for this thing, it may need an alignment. Really doubt I can find a manual for it though. Hope you enjoyed part 2. Hope you have a good day. If you liked, click the like button. If you want to leave a comment, please feel free. I'd greatly appreciate it. If you like seeing these kind of repairs, and want to see more in the future, please subscribe, as there is always something broken that needs repairing. Thank you very much.